Hi, welcome. It's Janet at Janet's Kitchen Garden. Hi. So today, it's the third week in June, and today we're going to see how these potato towers worked. They all went in kind of late, and this has just been an experiment. That's why I've waited till this late to harvest them. So we've gotten all of our screws out, and now we are going to cut this loose and see what we've got. So I'm snipping off all of the foliage that's on the outside of the cage so it'll come away smoother. So this will be interesting to see if we have, I know we've got some potatoes in here, but it'll be interesting to see just how many potatoes we ended up getting with this. If you remember, I put these in late because my order came in way late. So I've already harvested the majority of my other potatoes, and this is usually as late as you want to go in North Texas, is the third week in June as far as harvesting. And I'll cut all these into smaller bits and they'll all go into the compost pile. So what I hope's going to happen is that I'll be able to take all the wire off, unwrap the cylinder basically, and then tip over this onto my tarp, and then be able to separate hay, dirt, and potatoes. That's my plan. We'll see how well it works. Get my gloves on here. Well, so far so good. We'll move the wire out of the way here. Right. I wonder if I can use this as leverage to... Okay, so my stake's out. I'm going to pull out my center pipe. Well, here we go. Well, this is... Oh! Well, that's part of it down. Oh, that's weird. Those are potatoes that didn't even make. See, these were the chits that I put in, and they just didn't do anything at all. There's one little bitty. Well, let me, I'll be right back. Well, at first glance, this doesn't look as if it was all that successful. If you look right here, these are the actual potatoes that I planted, and they've barely sprouted. I mean, there's just nothing in there. You know, I mean, there's just nothing coming off those roots. I mean, again, here, oh, well, there's a few, but again, there's the piece that I'd planted. There's the roots. Really, again, just extremely disappointing. Lot of material with very little results. Now, you know, maybe results would have been better if they'd gone in earlier, as they should have. But we've certainly had the cooler weather until this last 7 to 10 days. We've had plenty of rain. This drained really, really well. So far, I've gotten more potatoes out of my flower pot planting than I've gotten so far out of the tower. I mean, they're just itty bitty tiny things. Again, there's roots, but no potatoes. Again, roots, no potatoes. Well, this, of the two towers, this had the most foliage, the most evidence of growth. So what I fear is that, you know, even the potatoes are rotting underground, is that the other tower in the west garden is going to have an even worse yield. So just off the top of my head and talking about what we've seen so far, I would say that for me, potato towers are not very effective. I'm getting better yield out of the ground and out of flower pots, 30-liter pots, than I did out of this. So I won't be doing this again. I'll try to sift out a bunch of the dirt out of here to reuse in flower pots or something, and use the hay for mulch. But this is the end of the potato tower for me. Whew. Well, as you can see, we've completely dismantled the tower, separated out as well as we could the straw here, this hay. I'm going to use it as mulch, and we'll reuse this dirt in the bottom of a new Birdie bed. As we've dug through here, what I've come to realize is that I actually do think this tower could have worked if I had gotten my potatoes in. If this shipment had come in the 2 months prior to when it did get here, and I had gotten these into the ground in February when they should have gone in, I really do think I could have gotten a good yield out of this. But in retrospect, the work that has to go into creating this, and the work that goes into getting the potatoes out and then separating things so that you don't waste the dirt and the straw, I just don't think it's worth your time and effort. I think it makes more sense to plant your potatoes in like a 30-liter bucket or a big flower pot, like I did with my purples. I put them in a big deep flower pot, and that seemed to work really well. So I think I can honestly say that I will not do potato towers again. It was a fun experiment. We got a few, you know, enough for, you know, put with some of my green beans and steam them or roast some. But for the amount of effort and the yield I think that you ultimately will get in a garden that's the size of mine, I just don't think it's worth the effort. So that's my honest opinion on potato towers. And that's it. That's all we got out of there. But on a brighter note, let me show you how the tomatoes are doing in number 4. Now, since the heat has gotten extreme, I've put this sun cloth on the top of the bed to help it in the late afternoon. But you can see how well the tomatoes are all doing. I've been keeping them to the central leader and just kind of wrapping them around using my tomato clips. But the one thing that I absolutely love is how much the beans and the tomatoes work together. I really do think that beans are a great companion plant for tomatoes, not just squash, but also for tomatoes. You can see how the leaves are getting a little curled. It's a little bit of heat stress. I probably need to soak this bed today and probably be picking tomatoes here for this is definitely going to be this weekend, and my Romanescos I'll probably pick some this afternoon. But it's doing well. The beans are fabulous. I've got green and purples mixed in here together. Oh, here's a little purple that's growing. They're really, really tasty. I picked beans yesterday, really scoured all the beds and picked all the ripe beans and put them up. Oh, here's a nice one. So I've got greens and purples and yellows all mixed in together, and they're all doing really, really well. And oh, they are so yummy. And purple. So this is Janet from Janet's Kitchen Garden saying see you later, bye.